We're touring over 20 apartments in San Diego, California, hoping to find the one. Hi, my name is Michaela. I'm 22 years old, Gemini, Filipina, and for the past 6 months, I've been living in my childhood home. So I am more than excited about this move. Don't get me wrong, I'm forever grateful for living with my family. It gets chaotic from time to time, but
I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche, when you do the fandango.
I kind of love that. So before we get into the apartments, these are the things that I was looking for. Good lighting was a must. I really wanted a place with character and safety because I am just a girl at the end of the day. Hey Pooks, welcome to another video. As you guys have read by the title, we are apartment hunting today because we are moving! After this video, you will probably be seeing a lot of moving content, moving diaries. Now, the original plan was for me to move out on my own, which is why in this video, you are going to see some 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments. You'll soon find out that I'm actually living with another roommate. She is also a Filipina queen. She's also someone that I've known for a long period of my life. It'll be really exciting to go on this journey with her. She's also an entrepreneur. So at some point, we start looking at 3 bedrooms, which you will see. Now, on this hunt, for finding the perfect place, we were both open to apartment complexes and rental properties. Being open to rental properties just gives you more options. Rental properties are typically just houses that are being rented out or condos, so because of that, they don't come with any extra amenities. So we decided to look at both. With that being said, we're just gonna get right on into it. We're starting off going by location, and the last 4 are the top contenders, the ones that we actually considered moving into, the cream of the crop, basically. Starting off in downtown San Diego. This is basically the city life version in San Diego, but let's not even compare it to New York City. It really is just high-rise apartments, big buildings, hotels. You have like a waterfront, there's like a pier. We're starting off with these 2 apartments that were literally across from each other in the heart of Little Italy. The apartment itself, it's really neat. You literally walk out of the apartment and you're kind of in the square of Little Italy where there's cafes, there's places to eat. There was like a little coffee station here that I thought was cool, you know. Any of these apartments that had a coffee station just did pull me in a little bit more. The apartment itself was nice. It was modern, had really nice appliances. I like the finishes on the kitchen, the wood cabinets. The backsplashing was like kind of okay to me. I like the floors. I was really particular about the floors because I've noticed just how much that changes the hue of the room. Like warm wood really gives that warm feeling to a space. Dark wood, you know, makes it a little dark. If you have gray floors, it kind of gives this blue tint. Especially in touring all of these places, I noticed this so much. I had a nice walk-in closet, a very modern bathroom. Look at this bathtub, by the way. It's massive. I've never had a bathtub before, guys. Overall, this place was nice. It just didn't really blow my socks off or anything.
That was such a dad phrase.
Okay, moment of silence for that one. It did have this gorgeous rooftop deck with a beautiful view of downtown. Kind of got this bird's eye view of everything that would be happening in this part of Little Italy. Moving on to the second apartment across the way. This kind of had like the same price point, probably like a few $100s less, I want to say. This kitchen had a dark wood finish, which is not really my favorite just because I love the lighter colors. I love lighter wood or even just like a white kitchen so it brightens up the space a bit. The view was facing another apartment, but on this window to the left, you kind of got this view of downtown. So that was pretty cool. The lighting for this one was a lot better than the one across the way. I feel like you guys know me and you just could probably see this apartment and be like, that's not really Michaela's. So the walls on these 2 were kind of like this beige gray color, which kind of just dimmed down the room a bit for me. Do I sound like a brat saying all these things? If I weren't a content creator, I would take any apartment. Let me just say that. Bathroom was really nice, modern, kind of like the same as the last one. Moving on to the next one. This one was the first one that gave me a bit of spark, made me feel a little something. I love the character. You guys will know what I'm talking about in just a sec. Lobby was really cool, kind of gave like this old vintage vibe. Had good amenities. I feel like the gym was very spacious, a good size. It had even this little like area where you could stretch or like dance a bit. They also had this room where you could hang out. Off to the left side of it, there's like this plant area. It was actually breathtaking. intriguing. I feel like I've never came across an apartment complex that kind of has its own little nook where it feels like you're in a garden. I really like the interior design of this. Moving on to the actual apartment. So we have this brick detailing, which I appreciated that it wasn't the entire apartment was brick or even an entire wall. I kind of like when it's sprinkled throughout, because here with the white walls, it still gives that light to the apartment. It had some really good windows, and that's why there was a lot of sun coming in. As for the kitchen, I feel like it was a pretty good size. It had some good appliances. I feel like these were pretty modern and new. Some of these floor plans had a walk-in closet, and I feel like the size was pretty good. As for the rooms, some of them are bigger than others. Some I could probably only have fit like my bed and maybe a dresser, so it was pretty compact. Overall, to me, this was a standout. This floor plan was probably my favorite because of the high ceilings, but also because it had a second level where the bedroom was. It was kind of like a loft situation, and I feel like at one point in my life, I'm gonna live in a loft. But going up these stairs was definitely something that both intrigued me, but also having my room be on the second floor, it's not my favorite. This area in particular wasn't the safest. Me living alone as a woman, this was definitely a concern for me, so this is kind of why I did have to pass on this one. Moving on to this next place in downtown San Diego, which was very luxury, which you guys will see. This place was on the more pricier side. These were some of the common spaces where you could do work, you could sit on that couch, watch TV, play pool, had really cool views. Like this was insane. Just, you know, imagine coming up here and reading a book. I had Ernie touring with me, guys, by the way. So I had a second opinion. This apartment was beautiful, as it should be for the price tag. We ended up touring a few different floor plans, and every single one of them had the bedroom in like this, it wasn't in a separate room, but it was like semi a part of the living room, which you guys will kind of understand. It also meant that there were no windows in these rooms. You were kind of just getting lighting in from the windows in the living room, and I just wasn't the biggest fan of that. And it also just didn't feel like there was a separation between the living room and the bedroom. We got this amazing view of downtown. The view was just incredible. I'm not the biggest fan of when a kitchen is off to the side. I did really like the appliances on all of these places. Very luxurious. I'll say it again. I mean, this looked like a stainless steel fridge. It was just very classy and elegant, and I did like that. This was a model for one of the floor plans. They did a really good job at doing this because it gave me an idea of how I would have structured this place. I thought the bathroom finishes were beautiful. I'll just let this speak for itself. The shower was really nice. It had a walk-in shower. I also thought the storage was very clever. I feel like I've never seen someone put storage where like the piping is for the sink. And then it did have this walk-in closet. I did really appreciate that there was already shelving put in. This one did have a different kitchen layout, which I did like a lot more. I also would have had my own patio, which was fairly long. Once again, a beautiful view. You could also see the Coronado Bridge, which is pretty cool. If you had some like binoculars or something, you could watch the cars pass by. This last floor plan had a different kitchen layout. I think this one might have been my favorite, but it was still pretty dim in here. And so if it was dim in the kitchen, then it would have been extremely dim in the bedroom. I'm a huge person on lighting and sunlight in general. Because of the price point, this just didn't blow my mind as much as it needed to in order for me to justify paying that price. It was nice. It was luxury. This next apartment, I actually toured with my roommate. The first one we saw was a 2-bedroom. It was really good on lighting. This was south facing, so overall you were gonna get lighting all throughout the day, and it was gonna be beaming, which means that it was gonna be a little hot. I really liked the views on this one. I don't know what it was. It was a little lower to the ground. Maybe I think we were on like the 6th or 7th floor, so we didn't get that like high view. We got this mid view, which I didn't mind. The kitchen on this was a dark wood finish. The appliances were really nice. I feel like it was pretty spacious, like it wasn't too claustrophobic in there. I do hate when the room has this big giant cement block that just takes up unnecessary room. Like something could go there, you know? I understand it's probably to like help keep the building up and everything, but I'm just like, we could do something with this space. It was nice. It gave me a little bit of like a, kind of like this one. This one could be a contender, but because my roommate did have a different budget, the split of the cost just wouldn't have made sense. We toured a second one, which I believe is a 3-bedroom. I like the layout of this one a lot more, and it was a lot bigger. And I actually originally liked the kitchen until for some reason I got like this like heebie-jeebie weird feeling about this backsplash. It reminded me of a beehive. Yeah, it just kind of sent shivers down my back looking at it. This place also had really poor lighting. Because of that, we just automatically kind of wrote it off. It also had a really bad smell as you walked by it, and this was on every floor because we checked if this was just a problem on this specific floor, and it's because the trash was right next to this apartment. So every time you would be walking there, you would get a whiff of this atrocious smell. Well, we're not living there. So moving on to some of my favorite areas. I'm batching together North Park and Hillcrest because they are pretty close to each other. Starting off at this one bedroom. Upon looking at it, I thought it was funky and interesting, and so I went to go tour it. Basically, where I would be sleeping is up these stairs, and on this second level, I don't even know what you would call these. I don't know if this is considered a loft. It's like right above the kitchen, and so I'd put my bed up there. It seemed fun at first, and then I thought maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't like this as much as I think I would. I think overall for the space, the pricing was just a little bit up there for me. It did have this really pretty kitchen. I love the wood finishes on this. I like that the washer and dryer was like tucked away behind these cabinets. I did like the idea of me filming with this like roof on top of me and how that would look. Basically would be like my living room. It did have these floor to ceiling windows, which were awesome. Not much of a view, but it did bring in some light. For this next one, I actually considered maybe living here, and this was back when I was looking to live out on my own. Just based off the Zillow listing, I was immediately drawn to these black spiral staircase. They even looked better in person, to be honest, and I just feel like tied in with the features. As you can see, there's this wood roof at the top and these high ceilings, and these wood roofs are actually found in the bathroom and in the kitchen as well. So I just thought that was cool character added to this place. Now, as for the spacing, I feel like the living room was a fairly decent size. It wasn't too small. You did get this little patio, and then your bedroom is up those spiral staircase, but you could definitely fit a bed in here and a dresser. You also got a walk-in closet, which was nice. I did really like this kitchen. I feel like it was really simple. It was really bright in there because of the white finishes, and I just feel like the appliances were fairly new, fairly modern. I did tour a few different floor plans here. One of them actually had this black finish for the kitchen, which I thought was pretty sleek. I normally would not go for that at all. And this other floor plan with the white kitchen was just a little bit different. It actually had wider space for the floor to ceiling windows, but surprisingly, it wasn't as bright as the one with the black kitchen. Let me tell you, whichever way your windows face has a huge contribution to the amount of light that's coming in, because you could have these large floor to ceiling windows, but if you're facing north, it
Literally will not matter.
I actually ended up touring another that was like in construction, and it had floor to ceiling windows all across the way, but this was like the perfect example of what I mean by that, because it was still pretty dim in there, which you would not expect with those windows. The reason why I first was intrigued by this place ended up being the reason why I did not get it. Those black spiral staircase, literally walking up those staircases may be a pain. I could foresee myself tripping, especially on those metal ones. Secondly, moving things up the spiral staircase like a mattress, I feel like is pretty hazardous, to be honest. That was just a concern for me, and it ultimately being the reason why I did not get this place. Moving to a few miscellaneous places that were just in random places of San Diego. This next place is actually in Mission Valley, which one of our top ones also happens to be here. This place was so spacious. The living room was a really big size. The rooms were great sizes. They had some really big walk-in closet. The bathrooms were beautiful. It had this LED mirror. The kitchen was beautiful. It had some great finishes. It even had this little area off to the side, which I thought would be like a mini desk for someone. I'm not exactly sure what the main purpose of this is for. It even had these lights that would turn on underneath. It was a cool place. It was very nice. You are probably watching this and you're like, oh, I know why she doesn't like it. This place was so dim, and two of the rooms were pretty dim. One of them was kind of lit. It still wasn't all that bright. This wasn't just an issue for me. My roommate also does content creation, so lighting was a huge thing for her as well. I could potentially sacrifice lighting on one room, but for her room to also have not gotten light as well, it wasn't gonna be it. I don't know why. This complex overall just had a very dim feeling to it. I just knew when one of these places felt like home for me, from the energy, from the lighting, to this, just the spirit, which I know is so like, maybe is a little extra to say. If any of you guys can relate, just please comment that down below so I know that I'm not alone and I'm not crazy. This next one is a rental property, so it's basically a house that we would be renting. This one was actually pretty nice, not gonna lie. It had this huge lot, so it was perfect for all of our cars to fit in. Now, as for the place in itself, I liked it. The kitchen was fairly modern. I would say more on the like basic side, if anything, but I did like that it had these two tones going on. The renter did have it staged out already because it was an Airbnb previously. The rooms were a good size. I feel like here you get an idea of what you could fit in there, like a bed, and then I maybe could see like a desk or a dresser. It also had these little closets with these really pretty doors. This one kind of felt like cottage core like with the way that it slides and just like the doors itself. I wouldn't say the closet space was anything massive, but you know, you could hang things up in there and put a dresser in there. I did love the flooring on this place. I feel like it was really beautiful. This room right here would have been one of my second bedrooms. It was pretty dark in here, as you guys can see. This place also had a backyard, so that was a plus. This first one would have been my roommate's bathroom, which I thought was beautiful. It had this gorgeous tiling. This would have been my bathroom. The tub! The lighting in here was also just gorgeous. I don't know why. I don't know if it was like south facing or something. It looks very similar to the one that I showed you. It looks pretty similar to my roommate's, except this one was just a little bit brighter in here and it didn't have the black tiling. So this was all white across and it was the highlight for me. As for the rest of the place, I wasn't sold yet. I wasn't sold. And I was just waiting. I was waiting for that feeling, for the, you know, like, this feels like home.
I did not feel that way about this one.
I don't know what it exactly was. Before we get into the cream of the crop, these are some honorable mentions. Which is really me just saying that these are the ones that I forgot to put in the video. First one being this apartment in North Park. This first one, I don't know what to say because at this point, how else do I describe these apartments any differently from the ones I had before? This would be the living room over here with some floor to ceiling windows. I feel like this place got some great sunlight in there. This was the kitchen. Can you tell that I'm excited about this one? This over here by the door would be kind of where I kept my bed. This unit was really small. I feel like I would have gotten claustrophobic and I would have made a mess in my apartment. I did end up touring this other floor plan. It was like kind of like a corner unit, so it had floor to ceiling windows all throughout and also had a patio, which is nice. This one did have a window in this little nook area. Also, the pricing for this, because it was in North Park, was pretty up there, and just for what you were getting, you know. This next one is in Bankers Hill, which you guys are all probably like, where are these places? Well, this is all really I think east, right, of downtown San Diego. All of it is just really neighborhoods, and then again, like little cafes here and there, but also hills, which is why they are named after that. Also have Bevel, that's pretty nearby with like this really huge park. This one that I saw was just a little interesting. You will see why. I did end up doing a self-guided tour for this one, so I might just have past Michaela walk you through that because she did her own little first impressions.
I'm doing a self-guided tour, guys. So I'm basically touring the apartment all on my own. I look so busted this morning because I quite literally woke up 25 minutes before I got here, so.
Now this is the second floor plan from this apartment complex. This place just looked like it was not finished, but then again, I don't know if that was the aesthetic that they were going for. Maybe someone enjoyed this, but I just found it a little eerie. I feel like this just speaks for itself on how it did not feel right. So moving on to a place I saw in downtown San Diego. This place was right next to the train station, which I take the train pretty often, so this would have been convenient. I've always thought to live in one of these spaces. I just feel like it could be really cool. I think with this layout in particular too, I could have done two different kind of spaces. So maybe like my bedroom would have been at the front over here, and then this would have been the living room. So I like that there was kind of a separation between the two. This one was definitely its own kind of place apart from all the ones that I've seen so far, because none of them had this kind of look. The second floor plan, which I actually really liked this one. I loved the windows. I thought this would have been cool because it's an open space. Like you can do so much with it. You can get really creative. They did have this sunroof, which I think that's what it's called, where you would get get some light coming in. I think it was a gloomy day when I toured this place, so there really wasn't much light coming in at the time, but I think it could have been a moment. I did think that there was a lot of potential for like really good sunlight. This was one I was actually considering after seeing it. I was like, I could see myself making a lot of fun decorating videos with this. Obviously, I didn't end up getting it because it's not even in my top 4, but it's an honorable mention, that's for sure. Moving on to one that we ended up seeing in South Park. We have South Park and North Park. They give off different vibes, actually. I think one just feels a little bit for older people, but at the same time, they both have cafes, they both have places to eat. South Park definitely has more Italian places. Off first impressions, I feel like it was a little bit underwhelming. The rooms were a lot dimmer than I thought they were going to be. I really like the kitchen. This is what stood out to me the most. I loved the idea of a checkered floor. Like the kitchen's just a little bit outdated, but I actually liked that. I felt like it added the character to it. I did really think the bathroom was super cool. I also thought the shower was super neat. So it was like in its own little pocket. There was this separate room over here that seemed like it would be for like a dining room table. There was also this fireplace that was cool. And I think when I saw the pictures, that was what really made me think that it had this charm. But overall, you know, we didn't pick this for a reason. Last honorable mention. This one was in North Park. It's like it fell right into my lap. I had been saying that I wanted to live right next to a cafe to the point where I could walk there, like it was outside of my house kind of thing. And this one happened to be right next to this really popular cafe that I had just discovered and I loved it. I also had this restaurant below it, so it felt very happening, you know, it felt like there would be a lot of things to do there. As for the place itself, I honestly thought that we could have lived here. Like when I was talking to my roommate about this one, I had a lot of passion, but it had such funkiness. Like this was the living room, and what you could do with this like garage style, it's literally a garage, but it's not meant for, you get what I'm saying? I thought it could have been this sort of indoor-outdoor type of space. And then, as you can see outside, we have this little deck. I thought there was a lot of space to do something with this. Place to do yoga, meditate, whatever. Now, this was a 2-bedroom, and the first bedroom is on the first floor. And now, looking back at these pictures, I don't know why I liked it so much because it's really dark in there. I was touring this at a time where the sun had already been going down. I don't really know what the lighting would have been like in there. I don't know why I thought I liked this one so much. Actually, you know why? It was a 2nd bedroom. It's actually up the spiral staircase. Here I am again thinking that I would enjoy this experience of going up these spiral staircase. Whoever lived in this room would have had to move all of their stuff through here, came up here every night, you know, to go to sleep. I just thought there was a cool view, to be honest, and like the idea that you were on this own little space of your own. There was real separation between the 2 rooms in the sense where you just had a lot of privacy with that. This one definitely had a bit more lighting coming in here. It did have its own separate bathroom, had this bigger walk-in closet kind of situation. I did feel like this bedroom just had a little bit more going for it, and that's why I thought it would have been cool, you know? So the pricing on this was expensive because just like in a perfect place to be. Those are it for our honorable mentions, which brings us to our top 4 picks. Starting up at this apartment in Golden Hill. Golden Hill is not very far off from downtown. Now, because this place was in Golden Hill, it did make it pretty pricey. First impressions of this place, breathtaking. I loved that this place had such great lighting in it. I feel like it was a good size to where it wasn't too big, but it wasn't too small. It also had this Romeo and Juliet balcony that we were gushing over. Guys, I'm so sorry.
Pause.
My voice is getting so deep, and the more I keep talking, I feel like I'm losing my voice because my voice keeps getting deeper and deeper. I love the kitchen on this place. It had kind of like a kitchen island type of situation. That door next to the kitchen actually leads to another kind of balcony, like a longer one. It was a little skinny, but in front of the kitchen, there was also this living room area. This window here was just beautiful. I love the trees in the back. Now, the rooms were a pretty good size, honestly. It didn't feel too claustrophobic in there. I actually would have had the master bedroom, which was a bit bigger. It also had kind of a small little closet. It also had this connecting bathroom with this beautiful sliding door. The bathroom was on the smaller side, but I didn't mind it. It actually had that LED light too, and I really just thought that this was so cool. It was the kind of one where you could like dim down the brightness and like turn it on and off, and that was really fancy to me. I mean, it is pretty fancy. The bathroom size was just smaller, but I feel like it had everything that I needed, and the finish of it was really modern. This would have been my roommate's bathroom, which is also quite similar to mine. We ran into the same issue on pricing. I would have just been paying more for my 1 bedroom, which wouldn't have made sense, which is why we ultimately didn't get this one.
I love this one.
You know what? I haven't even shown you the best part about it. Down the stairs, there's a sauna. There was also an ice plunge. It also had this little area where there was like swings and a fire pit. And it also had this trailer, which was also decorated inside. It's been used as an Airbnb too previously. So he said that if my family ever came over, they could stay in this trailer. So I was like, wow, that is so cool. I could see myself living here for sure. This was like a high contender for me. And it was to the point where I was considering just paying the higher portion on rent because I loved it so much. This was one of our contenders, but the biggest downside was just the pricing of it. Moving on to another place in downtown with the most amazing view. None of these places I have toured so far had this amazing of a view. Granted, I wasn't touring any of these places at peak sunset hours, so I'm not sure if I would have gotten this view anywhere else. I'll let the view speak for itself. Guys, when I told you that me and my roommate were jaw dropped, I was just like, oh my gosh. With that, the main selling point of this place was the view. The room sizes on this place was fairly small, and the reasoning for that was actually because the patio takes up a lot of that square footage. The patio was huge. Not only were these patios long, but they were wide as well. So that's why our rooms were just so small. All of these had floor to ceiling windows in the living room and in the bedrooms. One of the floor plans had all of the windows west facing, so each room would get a sunset view. The master bedroom has these two closets on the sides with like the sliding doors. It was nice because I probably wouldn't need to put a mirror in there because I would already have those closets as mirrors. As for the bathrooms, I feel like they were fairly modern. I like the finishes. I feel like it was simple, nice bathtub. The kitchen was on the smaller side, which I didn't entirely mind. It was pretty basic with just like the white finishes. I feel like there was like a decent amount of storage as well. Now, of all of our top 4 contenders, this place is the most expensive. Our parking was going to be a hefty price for both of us. Though the view was fantastic, it was amazing, that was the only thing that was drawing us there. But we did consider the fact that none of these were south facing, which meant that we would only get sunlight at a certain time of the day, more specifically during, you know, the afternoon time. Did we pick this one? Who knows? Moving on to the next one. We toured a few different floor plans at this complex. We're gonna start off pretty strong with this floor plan that had these beautiful floor to ceiling windows. It had not an obstructed view, so there was no apartment sitting in front of it. My room specifically would actually get this view of the golf course. The finish on this kitchen was a glossy gray color, which I think because it was glossy, it didn't make it stand out as much. So I really didn't mind this gray color. I didn't love it, but I didn't mind it. It's something I think I could have lived with. We did know that because this complex is by the freeway, we would get a little bit of noise, though I don't think it would have really picked up in my videos, but it was something that we kind of just mentally noted. It had these beautiful windows by the kitchen. I mean, really all throughout the complex. This was west and south facing. It's the cream of the crop. South facing is the best option for lighting, but west also gives you those sunset views. All the bedrooms were pretty great sizes. You could have fit a bedroom in there along with a desk on all of the bedrooms. In the master bedroom, which I would have taken, has a really big walk-in closet. It has the bathroom all the way in the back. The bathroom itself was beautiful. It had a great bathtub, had a huge mirror, and it also kind of had these LED lights that lit up the mirror. Great for get ready with me's. Great to just have like girlies in there getting ready also for parties. And as you can see, the lighting really comes through here. Like these rooms were so beautifully lit, and they were just still really great sizes, and a lot of the lighting was coming in because there was no obstructed view. So I feel like even when it started to get a little bit darker, it would still be fairly lit in there because there was nothing sitting in front of it. So the second place we see has this kitchen. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Is this not me? Yeah. I love the finish on this. As immediately when she said that they had a seafoam green kitchen finish, I was like, I want to see it, please. Because I'm naturally a colorful person, color to me just brings out the life in me. This was all the same layout. The only difference was that in my room, I wasn't getting that golf course view. I was actually semi-seeing an apartment complex, and the floor to ceiling window view slightly had the apartment complex in it as well. So that was really the only difference. As for the other rooms, those were all non-obstructed. So this apartment complex is a part of my top 2. Did we get it? Who knows? Now we did see a floor plan with this same green finish for the kitchen with just a different look. This floor plan did not have the floor to ceiling windows, but it actually was bigger. It had a bigger living room space. The window in my master bedroom was just now a little smaller, so it wasn't as bright in there. This one was probably third on my list. Now the question remains, is there something better though? Moving on to the next. This next place for me felt like home. When you walk in, this is what you're seeing. The kitchen. The kitchen is beautiful. It is huge with this massive island. It has this vintage stove, which to me was immediately something I was drawn to. It had this tile backsplash. It also had these shelves already drilled into the wall. There was plenty of storage space for things. There was a full fridge, and the sink had already a built-in separation for those of you that like keep your dirty dishes on the right side, then your clean dishes on the left. Like that was already built into the sink, so that was really convenient. The owner of this place put so much thought into this house. You could just tell, even talking to this person, they were very considerate and meticulous in putting this place together. The living room was a great size. The windows here were nice and big. There was also overhead lighting. Every part of the place was going to be lit up. I even went there a second time at night, and so I got to see how these 3 overhead lamps really looked like. And when I tell you, I was not expecting this to be the vibe. With some wine, this was the hallway. It was actually really wide. This first door on the left is the master bedroom, which would be my room. Now the room sizes for all 3 of them are on the smaller side. This room has its own private balcony. Now as you walk all the way to the bathroom, you kind of get this mini walk-in closet. Smaller compared to the other ones, but still, I love that there was already shelving incorporated into this. As for the bathroom, this was the most dreamiest one by far. This bathtub, like the fact that there was a separate place for a bathtub. The walk-in shower is beautiful. Still a really big mirror. I love the wood that they used on these. It was a bit like warmer right where their toilet is. You also get this storage area to put toilet paper, extra skincare. This person made the most out of the space because it is a smaller size bathroom. They still managed to add so much to it. This one just felt right. I could see myself doing self-care vlogs. I could see myself being in the bathtub. I could see myself being on the balcony reading a book, doing a yoga class out there. So this would have been my roommate's bedroom, which also has these sort of lighting. It has this slanted sort of roof and high ceilings, so that was really cool. She had north and west facing windows, which did mean that there wasn't the most lighting going into this room. As for the second bedroom, it was north facing. It had this pretty large size window, but obviously because of that, it was pretty dim in there. The overhead lighting did make it so that it got pretty bright in there. Because these rooms were smaller and we did get some north facing windows, we were considering those things in the process of choosing. I'm not gonna lie, our top 2 contenders, I would have been happy picking either one of them. Whichever way it goes, I'll be fine. So on that note, the place that we picked to be our new home for the next year, actually you're just gonna have to wait and see. Sorry, how to do it to ya.
Comment down below of the top 4 which one you think we ended up getting.